Welcome back to the Stockwell Roche or Stockwell Eldritch Show. Man, I love Josh. Welcome back to the Stockwell Eldritch Show. I'm Jason Stockwell with Remax Results.
Don Eldridge with Remax Results.
We just finished talking about self-directed IRAs, and there's a couple of things we want to share about those more on those, and then get into 1031 exchanges, another very complex with loads of different rules and regulations. But first, about self-directed IRAs. Are they for everybody? No, they are not. So please don't go and say, hey, yes, we're going to go out there and we're going to do this without. You have to contact CPAs or an attorney or a financial advisor or someone, or go to a class. I mean, you have to do something before you just jump into it. It's you got to know what you're doing before you start into it. So we're happy to answer any questions or direct you to people that will know where to go and who to talk to. And the other thing about them is IRAs are very popular. On break, Jeff was sharing about talking about Roth IRA. We talk about Roth IRA all the time. If you can utilize this, and you can do self-directed IRAs with Roths, it's the most powerful vehicle there is, because that's post-tax income going in, and it's not tax coming out. The gains are not taxed either. It's awesome and insanely powerful for your retirement plan. And if you can find a segment like Robin has with real estate or anything else that you may know of that's going to grow, that growth can be tax-free when it comes out. When you start taking disbursements when you retire. So very, very, very powerful information. And then costs. Robin, what are general costs of these?
Well, mine was, and they vary all over the place. And that was one thing that I found out when I started checking into this, was that I started looking at all these different companies that do it, and some have annual fees, and some have a flat fee and an annual fee, and some have a per transaction fee.
Yep.
I went to Broad Financial, and it was a flat $1,500 just to set this whole thing up for me, and that was it. So check it when you start checking into different companies. You're going to find that it kind of varies all over the place. And then you'd mentioned CPA, going to a CPA. I went to my accountant, and of course, depending on the accountant you have, some accountants are very traditional. My accountant was like, "Oh no, don't do it, don't pull."
Oh yeah.
Oh,
and if you go to your financial advisor, they're probably not going to want you to, because if your money's under their umbrella.
Right,
then,
exactly. And so my financial advisor did the same thing. Oh, please don't do that. Don't do that. So, I had all these people telling me not to do it. But of course, now, it's been a very, very good thing for me. And now they're not saying anything.
So the cost can vary. In my equity trust, the company I use, they charge a yearly fee based on the dollar in it. It's like a management fee, just like anybody would if they're doing a portfolio. And they say, okay, you have X dollars in here. We're charging you 1% of X dollars. So I think mine is set up that way. And I pay yearly on the management fee, or they just take it right out. If I don't pay it, they can take it right out of the fund, I guess is what they do. But I usually pay it separately on a yearly fee. So now that's something you see, and you see these fees and you get nervous, but you're paying fees in your 401k right now, in your IRA for sure. You may not know them, you may not see them, they may not be right in front of you in an invoice, but they're there, they're getting paid, someone's making money on it.
Even though you're losing money.
Yeah, you could be losing money. And that's a whole other show we could have on fiduciary duties of financial planners. We have fiduciary duty as real estate agents. I don't know how mortgage professionals you guys have?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes, fiduciary duties. But believe it or not, your financial planner most likely, in fact, probably most definitely does not have a fiduciary duty to you on your finances. They have what's called a reasonability, I think, or something along. I read about this, and we'll have a show on this. Mm-hmm. But very staggering that they don't have to have fiduciary on your behalf. So a whole show on that. But now, positive. We're going to be positive. I don't want to go on the negative road here and get on a tangent about not having fiduciary duty. 1031 exchanges. Jeff Peterson with CPAC 1031, which stands for Commercial Partners Exchange Company, LLC. They're right in Minneapolis. And I hear about exchanges all the time. Dawn, from clients?
Yeah, I've had some clients actually do a 1031 exchange.
1031 exchange?
Yep, absolutely.
I hear about it, and when people talk about it sometimes, they tell me what they're doing, I am nervous because I'm like, I don't know if that can be done legally, So
Me
Jeff,
too.
let's get into the definitions and start getting some information about those. What is a 1031 exchange?
Well, thanks. It's great to be here today. And, to kind of springboard off of the IRA discussion, it's not how much you make, people. It's how much you keep.
Yes.
Exactly. And in both of these techniques, we're trying to keep that hard-earned equity compounding and building for ourselves and our futures, and to keep all of that money that would otherwise go to the government in unnecessary taxes and keep it rolling for us.
Yeah.
And so 1031 is really a provision that's been in the tax code in some iteration since 1921, almost 100 years now.
Wow.
And the whole idea is that if you dispose of one property, say a farm or an apartment building, and you buy another like-kind property, another farm or another apartment building, why should we penalize this investor if they're continuing their investment in another like-kind property? Well, in the realm of real estate, like-kind is very broadly construed as just about any real estate in the United States that's held for investment or business purposes, right? So, we get a lot of people that are selling a duplex and they want to roll it into a 4-unit or a 12-unit apartment building. They want to take that hard-earned equity and leverage it up into something bigger and better. And right now in this marketplace that we're in, when interest rates are super low, can you think of a better time to lever up your profits, your gains, and try to get into something bigger and better?
I was actually talking about this before the show started, so absolutely, yeah, I would agree.
I mean, when you can borrow money sub 5% on commercial loans, that's crazy. And to be able to take all of your money, lever up, and buy something bigger and better, that's the name of the game. So 2 major requirements for 1031s. If you take anything away from this radio show, you got to hold the property for investment or business purposes, and it has to be exchanged for like-kind property. Some people want to do exchanges and roll the money into a lakeshore cabin.
Yes, why not? Right? No, I'm just kidding. I hear people wanting to do that. Hey, how can I not pay taxes on a lake cabin or something like that? And that's when I get nervous. I'm like,
Right. So, what's outside of the strike zone for 1031 is property that's held for personal use. Your second home, your ski chalet, properties that are really not held for investment or business purposes.
Yep.
That's not kind of too dissimilar from what you guys were talking about in the IRA area, where you don't want to commingle your personal money with your investment money.
Yep.
Right. And then the other thing that's outside of the strike zone for 1031 is property that's held as inventory, property that is really held primarily for resale. Well, I heard you do
Give me an example. Oh, okay.
remodel a year.
Yeah.
Well, that's a flip, right? You're holding that primarily to turn it, to flip it. And those flip properties don't fit nicely into the strike zone for 1031.
They don't. I see investors doing flips through a 1031, and I've talked to my accountant, Paul Miller, and he says, be careful. You're basically raising your hand and saying, check me out. I might want to get looked at to the government, right? To the IRS for auditing purposes, right?
Right. And if you think about it, unless you're doing your flip through your self-directed IRA, unless you're super smart and savvy, if you're just doing a standard flip, you're going to get crushed on taxes because it's short-term gains for less than 12 months. Yep. And you get taxed by the state of Minnesota as well. So it's the most inefficient way to make money flipping properties. So how do we change our business plan to make it the most tax efficient? Well, one way would be to use the self-directed IRA mechanism.
Yes.
But another way to do it would be to buy the property, put the lipstick on it, clean it up, make it nice, and then rent it out for 12 months.
Oh.
Maybe even sell it to your tenant after 12 months. Have a springing option that says, after 12 months, tenant, you can buy my property.
My light bulbs just went off in my head. That doesn't happen very often. I just got a light bulb or two that went off and said, wow. Because I've been buying and renovating and selling, and my accountant says you have to have a large profit because you're literally half of it is gone. The profit is gone when you do your taxes. So if you're doing a remodel and you have a $10,000 proceeds, by the time after 6 months and all that money tied up into it, and then you have $5,000, you'd be better off putting that into the stock market probably. But But anyway, that's a great tip.
And it's
you can
super
rent it out and hold it for longer than a
Yeah.
year.
Super easy to change your business plan to maximize the tax efficiency just by tweaking that little time frame that you're holding it.
Wow. That is very, very good information. By the way, I must say, Jeff, I could listen to you for a really long time. I think your voice, you have a very good...
I know he does have
Yeah,
a
you
really
do.
Good voice
soothing,
for radio.
great voice.
So we'll be back with more. So Jeff Peterson, all his information will be on our website for CPEC 1031. Thomas Jusla, all his information will be on there from Finance of America. And you'll see about the Remodeling Expo coming up and some information about self-directed we'll have on there as well. So we'll be back. I'm Jason Stockwell, RE/MAX Results.
Don Eldridge, RE/MAX Results.
Stay tuned for more tips in the next segment.
I don't take it all.